Hi, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 8 of It's Worth the Rewatch and Rotten Tomatoes Sucks. So today's movie is Pain and Gain, directed by Michael Bay, starring Mark Wahlberg, Dwayne Johnson, Anthony Mackie, Tony Shalhoub, and Ed Harris. If you want to hear about the movie, follow the timestamp and go to Rotten Tomatoes section. If not, let's get to Pain and Gain. Miami, LA, New York City, Chicago, and Vegas are my favorite locations to visit as a married man living in suburban upstate New York. For 48 hours, Miami can absolutely be heaven. Great food, cigars, refreshing rum cocktails, and, best of all, the beautiful South Beach. Michael Bay has a special relationship with South Beach. I think Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2 are not only iconic comedies, but the former made Will Smith a movie star, while the latter got him back to the top after the Wild Wild West Matrix blunder. Though that's good for us, because Neo needs to be a cardboard cutout and Will Smith's our Fresh Prince. Well, as long as you don't utter the words Jada. Anyways, I'm digressing. So Michael Bay, Miami, right, let's get back. Pain and Gain is an underrated comedy based on some pretty serious crimes committed by bodybuilders. The picture sets the backdrop to be the glamour of Miami, beautiful people, wealth, beaches, and clubs. The plot, on the other hand, is moved along through the comedy derived from the stupidity of three bodybuilders. For this movie, Mark Wahlberg, Dwayne Johnson, and Anthony Mackie got really jacked using tons of Anavar and naturally, and oiled themselves up to show every single viewer that it's better to hit the books in the gym if you want real success in this country. The best performance in this movie is by Tony Shalhoub, who portrays an obnoxious, wealthy prick with ease to somewhat justify the actions of the protagonist. You broke, you dumb shit, because you never went to college, thereby guaranteeing you were going to spend the rest of your life obsessing over pectoral muscles. That's the best line of the movie. In addition to the main characters, we have Rebel Wilson, who comes in for a firecracker cameo and does what she does best. Lastly, Ed Harris uses his clout for a smooth, subtle role. Please check out this movie for absurdity of the real-life actions, the humor, and the blue skies. You can't make this movie in gloomy London. Alright, so let's move on to the second portion of the video, where I talk about how much Rotten Tomatoes critics sucks in relation to this movie. So let's get to the first top critic. The first top critic is Larushka Ivanzadeh from the metro.co.uk. Yikes, I butchered her name. For Michael Bay, this is a positive review, by the way, but she gave it a 2 out of 5. For Michael Bay, all storytelling exists only to justify senselessly bashing some big, shiny, noisy stuff into other big, noisy, shiny stuff till your ears bleed for mercy. Excellent. Clever. Well, good thing this is somewhat of a positive review, because I will say welcome to Michael Bay. I don't want to reiterate the Christopher Walken hand on fire speech about how a man can be an artist in anything, but I think inserting that speech is appropriate, and I will insert the speech right now.
A man can be an artist in anything, food, whatever. It depends on how good he is at it. Creasy's art is dead. He's about to paint his masterpiece.
The next review is Jason Bailey from Flavor Wire. This is a bad review. Goodfellas, maybe he's trying to do a Goodfellas style dark comedy. The copious voiceovers would certainly suggest it, but put as charitably as possible, Bay is no Scorsese. This is a ridiculous comment. Just because there's a voiceover does not make it a Goodfellas comparison. The Shawshank Redemption is not a Goodfellas comparison. And yes, I would agree that Michael Bay is not Martin Scorsese. Man, how did these people get any credibility? The next one it's Nick Pinkerton from Sight and Sound. This is a good review. While Pain and Gain often frustrates, Michael Bay's overwhelming cinematic sense is undeniable. So I ended up reading this review. This is a hell of a review, by the way. He weaves in some Boogie Nights, Fargo, and Steven Soderbergh. But everything he says is frustrating, I personally love. All right, next one is Wesley Morris, the great Wesley Morris from Grantland. This is a bad review, by the way. Pain and Gain weighs about 700 pounds when it ought to weigh 2. I love you, Wesley, but come on. You can't come into a Clint Eastwood movie and not expect a couple gunshots. You can't walk into a Brian De Palma movie and not see some titties. And you cannot walk into a Michael Bay movie and not see some explosions, in this case, via grandeur. Okay, next one is Max Kybers. And he's in the film comment magazine. This is a bad review. So rather than take its true crime caper inspiration seriously, it pawns off its real life players as dumb action figures and has little respect for the victims involved either. I would argue that there are no victims. The only victim's Ed Harris with his back issues. Next one is Tara Brady from Irish Times. 3 out of 5. This is a good review. Might this be the best Michael Bay film ever? We know what you're thinking, but we mean it in a good way. Come on, Tara. That's Bad Boys or Bad Boys 2. Next one is Nigel Andrews, Financial Times. 0 out of 5. Forgive me while I weep in despair. Pain and gain is awful beyond imagining. Man, tell me how you really feel. Peter Bradshaw from The Guardian. 3 out of 5. There's something inspired about putting Michael Bay in charge of a brazen action comedy about gym pump knuckleheads who screw up their own criminal master plan most royally. Hell yeah, Peter. This is exactly how I feel. I love this review. The word brazen is the exact word to be used. Next one is Peter Travers from Rolling Stone. 0.5 out of 4. In between scenes of the muscleheads torturing their victim, Michael Bay indulges his taste for treating women as sluts and grisly brutality as a nifty excuse for a cheap laugh. I mean, come on, dog. Come on, Peter. What do you expect? The main female lead is a stripper. The other one is a horny nurse who's into enlarging penises. And the last one is the wife of a porn king who's also a sex talker. How can you possibly glamorize the characters in this movie? All right, next one is Tom Charity from CNN.com. Bad review. The crude and ugly entertainment is as crass as everything this depressingly successful filmmaker has done. I guarantee you that Tom Charity is broke and is definitely jealous of Michael Bay's success. Next one is Peter Rayner from the Christian Science Monitor. C. Bad review. It's official. Michael Bay, director of Transformers Clobberfest, knows how to make movies about humans too. The problem is he thinks humans are robots. So this is a pretty interesting review. So bodybuilding is a very vain sport. You need to focus on yourself a lot, and hence most bodybuilders are douchebags, and they all kind of sound the same. So I understand the mechanical aspect of the situation, but this shouldn't be a bad review. I think this you could kind of convert this into a good review. Next one is it's Radean Simonpillai. I think this guy's brown. 16 out of 100. It's got to be a joke. For Michael Bay fans, Pain and Gain may be his masterpiece, where the director's collision of testosterone-fueled action and blunt wits is perfectly in keeping with the subject. Masterpiece. Whoa. I guess I got to replay the Christopher Walken speech again. Definitely not Michael Bay's masterpiece. All right, thank you for watching. Appreciate you staying till the end of the video. My name is Neelish Balaji, and for more content, please check me out at upkaya.com. Bye.